nouveau à Minneapolis. Tempo Afrique Travel. Vous voulez voyager? Achetez vos billets d'avion à l'agent de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel. Avec l'agent de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel, pas de problème de connexion, pas de problème de transfert de vol. Avec l'agent de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel, c'est le voyage en toute tranquillité, en toute beauté, de votre maison jusqu'à votre destination. Votre satisfaction est notre plaisir.
Hello, everyone. How are you? Thank you for tuning in. I know the COVID has impacted a lot of people, and especially we that have family members outside the United States. It's just been so incredibly difficult to unite with our family members. Well, this episode will now discuss the visa backlog, because there's a huge visa backlog as a result of COVID. And I'm going to help you navigate or maybe explain to you what the current status is. As you're aware, well, before I start, my name is Uche Nwaneri, immigration attorney, and feel free to call me with questions. My number is 713-730-2900. So talking about visas, the Department of State is the department that's in charge of issuing visas. And because of COVID, there are different regulations for embassies all over the country where you have the United States embassies. So what obtains in one embassy is different from what obtains in another embassy. So at best, it's always best for you to contact your embassy, go to the embassy link to find out updates. But I'm going to walk you through what the actual updates are in recent times. So in terms of visas being issued, there are three categories. We have the high priority category, we have the phasing in category, and then we have the routine category. So I'm going to talk about the priority. So the high priority now, as the embassies are beginning to slowly open and resume, I won't say completely normal activities, but they are opening up because a lot of people are still working from home. There's still staff reduction, but as they open, their priorities are really as follows. So first off, it's all the United States citizens abroad. That's their concern. So their emphasis is trying to bring all the United States citizens who want to come over or who are stranded abroad, they're trying to bring them over. So that is the priority of the embassy at this time. Next will be all those who have been issued immigrant visas. And we start with immediate relatives, including those who are subject to inter-country adoptions. So that's the next priority list of those who are being issued visas at this time. Then after that group, you have the fiancé visas. That's another priority. So those who have their visas and they will be scheduled for interviews. Those with fiancé visas, and then the K1 visas. Then after that group, you have the family-sponsored applicants. And after the family-sponsored applicants, and family-sponsored applicants will mean the green card holders and those who are not within the immediate family category. And you remember the immediate family category are those United States citizens who have their spouses and who have children who are minors and less than 21 years. Those are immediate families. So anybody not falling in that group will become preference categories. So that will be the next category. So after that, you have the immigrant visas, who are immigrant visa cases for those who were previously issued visas and were impacted by the presidential proclamations of 1996, 45, and 99, 83. So these proclamations are those who were suspended by the travel ban, which was imposed by the Trump administration, but has now been rescinded by the Biden administration. So this travel ban had suspended entry into the United States of nationals belonging to these countries. And those are from Burma, Eritrea, Iran, Kazakhstan, Libya, Nigeria, North Korea, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, Tanzania, Venezuela, and Yemen. These are about 13 countries. So with this proclamation now rescinded, nationals from this country can now travel to the United States. But again, it will still follow the priority in terms of immediate families. If there are immediate families that are impacted, those ones will be able to get their visas first, and it will still follow the order of priority. So as always, you want to check your website to see if you're impacted or your family members are impacted. So now, after these priority categories, we'll now go to the non-immigrant visas. So now for the non-immigrant visas, the embassies are prioritizing travelers or applicants who have urgent travel needs. And it also includes foreign diplomats and all those who are also carrying out critical missions that will help the United States. I mean, regarding, it could be about COVID, coming to assist with COVID, or it could also help with the food supply chain. So any visas that are related to that, even though they are non-immigrant visas, they will also be given priority, and especially after the immigrant visas have gone. Then the last in the priority list will be the exchange visitors. We have the students, and then we have exchange visitors, and finally the employment visa applicants. So that's the order of priority at the embassies now. That's the way, as they are slowly resuming, these are how the visas are being issued. So if your family members fall into any of these categories, then know that if they're immigrants, they should be getting their interview letters, applications, or appointments pretty soon. So after that priority list, they're now phasing in the next group of applicants. And this will differ from embassy to embassy. So the next visa list will be, as they're phasing in, will still be in that category. It will be the priority of US citizens. And then if it's for non-immigrants, for those providing emergency, those with urgent needs or providing emergency or mission or critical services, any critical services, especially to assist in the United States with COVID. So that would be the next group that they are issuing visas to. Then we have the other groups. So you recall that there were 3 proclamations which they're called the geographical COVID-19 proclamations. Those are the P9984, 9992, and 10143. These proclamations have not been rescinded, so they still remain in effect. So what are these proclamations? And these proclamations are really the restrictions to countries that if you're a national of the following countries I'm about to list, and you have been in that country for about 14 days, I mean, if you have been physically present in those countries for about 14 days, you will not be permitted to enter the country. So that proclamation is still in place. And the countries that are affected are the People's Republic of China, the Islamic Republic of Iran, the Schengen area, United Kingdom, Republic of Ireland, Federative Republic of Brazil, or the Republic of South Africa. So these countries are still impacted, and previously, when we had the proclamation under President Trump, it meant everybody from that, any national of that country will be impacted. But the Biden administration has granted a few exceptions that even though you are from that country, you may still be accepted if you fall within the following groups I'm going to mention. So from April 8th of 2021, this group are considered they're eligible to now apply for their visas or to be granted interviews because they belong. The Biden administration has determined that these people coming into the country, even though they're from all these countries that are restricted, that they're coming into the country will be in the national interest. So the group are as follows. It means all immigrant visa applicants, even though they belong to any of these countries. Fiancé visas, exchange visitors, and includes pilots, it includes air crew if they're traveling for training and airport pickup. So all these people are accepted. So they can now apply for visas, even though they belong to other countries, China, Iran, United Kingdom. So that's the position now. And this became effective on 4/8 of 2021. But as always contact your embassy to find out what the status is. They will give you the most updated status. So regarding visa application fee, you realize that some people have paid the visa application fees and they still have not gotten an interview or still have not been able to immigrate or travel to the United States. So they're asking about what will happen, what is the fate, what will be the fate of the immigrant visa fees they have paid. So there is something called the MRV. It's called the Machine Readable Visa Fee. So this is valid for 1 year from the date of payments. So it means even though you have paid and maybe the visa has elapsed or your interview date has elapsed due to the COVID, it means you can still use that. And what the Biden administration through the Department of State has done is to extend the validity of the MRV, the Machine Readable Visa Fee. So the MRV has now been extended to September 30th of 2022. So don't worry about that. If you've paid for your application fees, yes, you can still use those fees. You don't need to pay new fees. Then we have the group of the DV Lottery 2020. That's for the fiscal year 2020. So I'm going to break this into two groups. So you have the DV Lottery applicants, those who have already obtained their visas but were unable to travel due to travel restrictions. And then you have the DV Lottery selectees who still have not gotten a visa interview yet. So now for the first group, for those who have gotten their interview, either have received their interview appointments or have attended their interviews and had their visas, but then were not able to travel and their visas expired. That's for the fiscal year 2020. So it means that the Department of State has said that they may not be issued new visas, okay? So they won't have any replacement visas. However, because of, there was a court order in the case of Gomez and Trump, Gomez versus Trump. So individuals who belonged to those, to the ruling in Gomez versus Trump, in which the court has said to allow these visa applicants to come to the United States, to enter the United States, notwithstanding that their visas have expired. So anyone impacted by that decision may still be able to travel on that expired visa. So you're advised to quickly apply, contact your embassy and be able to travel as quickly as you can. So you're encouraged to travel on the expired visas. Notwithstanding that it's expired, you're still encouraged to apply and to travel. So you want to do that as quickly as possible. That's what the Department of State is saying. They're not going to issue replacement visas. And these are for the DV Lottery of 2020. And again, like I said, these are people who have their actual visas, not those still waiting for an interview. So for those who have not received an interview yet, who are selectees, well, for those ones, they are really out of luck. They may not be able to come in because if they didn't get an interview or did not secure their visas before September 30th of 2020. They may be out of luck. So there really isn't anything going on for them. So that's it for the diversity visa lottery. Now we have the K1 applicants. So the K1 applicants, there is another case, the Milligan versus Pompeo. This was a case impacting 150 couples. So they're saying that if you are one of the plaintiffs in that case, which I said 150 couples, if you're one of the plaintiffs, yes, based on this court order, you can now apply or apply to travel to the United States based on the court order. And like I mentioned, K1 applicants are in the priority list, but you won't say that the court order does not require, because you're a plaintiff in that case, that you'll be given special priority ahead of other K1 visa applicants. So that in itself, there's hope in that. If you're a part of that order, yes, you can travel, but it does not mean that if there are other K1 visa applicants before you, because of that, you are actually going to go ahead of them to obtain your own visa. No, you still have to wait in line. But again, you are sure that you'll be able to enter into the country. So for the employment visas, like they are the list on the lists, and we'll have to wait till everybody else has obtained their visa. But as usual, you will have to contact your embassies because they will give you the most up-to-date information about their priority list and how they are implementing that. It will differ from embassy to embassy. So that's it about the visa backlogs. The hope is, and the encouraging thing is that the Department of State is aware of this and they are working frantically to ensure that all those who have been impacted by the COVID-19 restrictions are still able to come. And that's why they're getting into the priority list and then getting into the phased resumption, and eventually they'll get back to normal. And that's when they will resume their normal or routine visa issuances. So that's it for the visa backlogs. So now, interestingly, there are other updates, and this might affect people living in the United States. So in the past week, those who were rejected, whose I-485, that the application to adjust status were rejected between October and December, the USCIS, that's the service, has now started issuing letters to these people they've affected, to reapply or resubmit their rejected applications. So you look out for that. If you're impacted, you might be receiving a letter and you might be asked to resubmit your application. And really, I don't think you should include another application phase. You're just advised to resubmit your applications. Then the other big news for the week is the I-765. That's the application for work authorization. Now it's going to be online, but it's only for the F1 students who will be eligible for OPT. So for the first time, we're going to have the I-765. So people in that group are eligible to apply, which will be faster for them due to all these backlogs they're experiencing. So that's going to be faster for them, and they're encouraged to apply online. And that's for OPT students. Now, yet another big news. I've been receiving calls about this about the HR 1909 and S747. This is a bill from both houses of Congress, which was initiated by Representative Joaquin Castro. So this is a bill. These are bills from the Democrats, which they had written a letter to President Biden, asking him to include. Actually, the title of the bill is the Citizenship for Essential Workers Act. That's the title of the bill. So they wrote a letter to President Biden asking him to include it as a part of the infrastructure plan. But at best, it is a very good bill, and it's going to cover a lot of people, essential workers, healthcare workers, childcare workers, a whole lot of people, giving them a path to citizenship, and it's going to impact about 5 million people. But like I said, it's a letter that was written to President Biden. There really is no action. It hasn't been introduced to either the House of Representatives or the Senate. So there's really no action yet, but at least there's hope that there's something, there's a bill like this existing, so that if and when they're ready to introduce it, then you know what the process is. It has to be introduced, it has to be debated, it has to be passed by the House of Representatives, then forwarded to the Senate, and when it is passed, it now gets to President Biden, who signs it into law. So there's a process, a longer process, which has not been started yet. So for anyone who has become aware of this, yes, it's good news, but again, I ask you to exercise caution because there really isn't any action happening now. But it's good to know that such bills exist, and we're still waiting because hopefully something will be done with the immigration bills, either a complete overhaul or piecemeal. So we're hopeful that something will come up soon. So the other news is for lawful permanent residents who have traveled abroad and who are stranded and been affected or might be affected by the restrictions from the COVID restrictions or travel bans. So they're advised now to apply for Reentry Permit. So even if you're going for a short stay, try to apply for a Reentry Permit before you come back, so that you're not affected when you plan to return. So Reentry Permit will give you permission to come back, and you're encouraged now to apply for that before you travel. So, and then for conditional residents, some conditional residents, that's those who have conditional residence which lasts for about 2 years, and who may be abroad and outside the United States and have been stranded. So these people have also been encouraged to at least apply for the removal of the conditions, even while they're abroad. So as long as they receive a receipt notice, they should be able to travel and to come back to the United States. So really, that's what is happening now. Those are the big news. I hope you found it useful, and please feel free to share with others who might need this information. And once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and let me know if you have any comments, any questions, and feel free to contact us with your immigration questions. Our number is 713-730-2900. Thank you, and bye. See you next week.
Nouveau à Minneapolis, Tempo Afrique Travel. Vous voulez voyager? Achetez vos billets d'avion à l'agence de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel. Avec l'agence de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel, pas de problème de connexion, pas de problème de transfert de vol. Avec l'agence de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel, c'est le voyage en toute tranquillité, en toute beauté, de votre maison jusqu'à votre destination. Votre satisfaction est notre plaisir.